This week, I'm chatting to our IFS Insights editor, Grant Bailey.
So we have this great product called IFS Insights, which is on our website, and it features some of our latest research and some stuff, old hits and new stuff as well that we haven't published anywhere else. We have a couple really great insights on the state of young Americans. So this first one, which I think, Chris, you're going to show on the screen, is
Coming
the
up.
change in the share or the amount of time that young adults spend socializing with friends. So we looked at Americans ages 18 to 29 using the American Time Use Survey and found a massive decline in the number of hours per week that young adults are socializing with their friends. So in 2010, it was over 12 hours a week. And through the 2010s, and then with a massive drop off in 2019, and then in 2020 with the pandemic, we're now seeing under 6 hours, under around 5 hours a week with friends. That's how much time that young adults are socializing. So it's a remarkable drop off.
Yeah, these are really interesting charts, and I see you have some explanation next to the chart so that you can get an idea of what's going on. But is there any understanding of what the causes are for driving this down?
Well, I mean, Jonathan Haidt has provided in Gene 20 fantastic analysis on this. Jonathan Haidt has this term, the Great Rewiring, which was between 2010 and 2015, where digital technology really took a prominent place in young adults' lives and really started to consume a lot of their attention and time. And this maps out perfectly with the timeline of young adults spending less time with friends. You see some ups and downs before 2010, but with 2010 onwards, it's just a straight line downwards. And post-pandemic, we haven't recovered. So we really think that digital technology is the biggest player here for why kids aren't going out and seeing each other.
And that brings us on to our next insight.
Yeah, yeah. This is a chart on the change in the number of young men who are not in the labor force. So going back even to the 1980s, we've seen young men dropping out of the labor force. So around 1980, I think 1976, 5% of adults 25 to 40 were not in the labor force. And to 2024, that's increased to 11%. But it's not hit every American equally. Those with a college education are dropping out of the labor force too. So we've seen a 79% increase in the share not in the labor force over that time period, over that 50 years. Um, but for those without a college education, it's much more dramatic. We've seen a 165% increase. So this was a trend happening before the great rewiring of the 2010s, but from 2010 to the present, the trend has it's gotten stronger. The change is more dramatic. There's been a lot of sort of talk about, maybe AI companions can fill in this space. Maybe, I mean, Mark Zuckerberg talked about how there's a huge gap between the number of friends people say they have and the number of friends that they really want to have. And he suggested that his AI can fill that gap, can sort of bridge that. But that's not really what young adults have in mind. Most young adults say that they're actually sort of uncomfortable or opposed to AI companions or romantic partners. It's actually it's a huge share of them. So we did a survey in 2024, and we asked Gen Z adults, what are your attitudes towards AI romance and companions? And only 7% said that they were open to it. 20% said that they had mixed feelings about it. They weren't unsure. They weren't necessarily opposed, but perhaps they were open, but they were cautious. And then 74%, so 3 out of 4 Gen Z adults said that they were opposed to it or that they were uncomfortable with it. So they had a sort of negative attitude towards it. So despite being digital natives, right, that Gen Z are the ones who use this technology the most, they're most acquainted with it. They're also massive skeptics about AI romance.
Well, thank you so much, Grant, for providing us a roundup of some of your IFS insights. They're great to see.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.